my heart. I'll take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my head, I plant my feet, I let love in. I feel the beat, it's calling us to rise. Spirit rise up, rise in me, and in my soul, I clear my mind. I'm here and now, in present time. I feel the power of 1,000 suns, and light up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise, spirit rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, spirit rise up, rise in me, rise in me. I sing to you, you sing to me, sing to this love, makes me harmony. Come and rise, oh rise, spirit rise up, rise in me, oh rise, rise, spirit rise up, rise in me, rise in me, heart to heart.
Would you like a mic?
Yeah.
Or I need a mic. We'll do the opening song, the peace song. Surely the question.
Okay, I guess we're live here at Unity of the Seacoast, and I'd like to welcome all of you who are here in person, and also those of you who are at home and worshiping with us and have worshiped with us. Welcome again, and if there are any new people who are tuning in for the first time, we give you a warm welcome, and we hope that you continue to join us in our services at 10 a.m. each Sunday, and hopefully right here in person at the McConnell Center. I'd like to remind people to silence their phones if they haven't already. And we'll begin with our reading of the daily word for today. Appropriately, it's about world peace. Today's August 27th, 2023, World Peace. I join with others to build a peaceful world. The world's problems can feel so overwhelming and its needs so great that I may wonder how my individual efforts could make such a difference. But every action I take can contribute to world peace. I remember there are people throughout the world who feel the way I do. So many are doing what they can do to bring light and love to their neighborhoods and communities. I feel comforted realizing I am not alone in my efforts. Peace begins with each person and inspires others as it spreads, uniting all of the world's people to live and thrive in harmony and cooperation. We are meant to live in peace. I hold that vision and offer compassionate service as a way to make my dream for world peace a reality for all of us. Let us then pursue, this is from Romans chapter 14, verse 19. Let us then pursue what makes for peace and for mutual upbuilding. And that's from our daily word, Unity's daily word. In conjunction with that, I received this in the mail at home to remind you that on the 13th and 14th of September is Unity World Day of Prayer. And I'd like to see some people, maybe if we could get some people here on that day and open up our sanctuary here for some silent prayer for world peace from us, Unity of the Seacoast. So that's something to think about. Gotta make sure I gotta get my right in the right direction here. Okay. Our mission statement, that should be coming up on our screen. If we could all read that in unison, beginning with our mission statement is we are a loving, nurturing community dedicated to being a positive path to spiritual living, to awaken oneness with God within us all. Well done. I agree with what I read with unity prayers in the sense that if we can all do that one little prayer for our world and world peace, and also to think about that it doesn't take world leaders, it doesn't take lots of people, and it doesn't take armies. It takes one person at a time to live the message of peace and to share that with others. And the peace can be not only in terms of war, but peace of mind, peace of our troubles, etc. So wonderful, wonderful aspect of meditation and prayer. First Monday of the month, we do have a meditation that's led by our good friend Charlie. I call him Charles. I hesitated to call him Charles, but Charlie, yes. And that's so that's the first Monday, is it? Yeah, first Monday of the month at 7 p.m. And it's on Facebook Live. We broadcast live on our YouTube channel. All you have to do is to type in Unity of the Seacoast, YouTube search button, or our webpage at unityoftheseacoast.org and scroll down until you see the links to bring you to our live services and even past services, because all of our past services are filmed and archived. Our talks also are archived, and so if there is something that you want to look back on and reflect on, you can do so by, again, going to our website. Our donation button is there. It is a blue button that's called Tithely. Just click on it, and there you go. you'll be at a place where you can tithe, and you can tithe one time, or you can tithe on a monthly basis, weekly basis, however you'd like to. And it's one way of giving thanks for the ministry here at Unity of the Seacoast. And if it touches you, it will also motivate you to support the continued ministry here at Unity of the Seacoast. And the address for a check, if you would like to donate in that way, is the McConnell Center. That's McConnell Center, Suite number 246, 61 Locust Street in Dover, New Hampshire. 03820 is the zip. Please visit our meetup group for all our events. This is on our webpage as well. Shane Moran hosts our poetry group, Poets in Unity, and that's on the third Saturday of each month. So that'll be on the 16th of September from 2 to 4. Come and share, and listeners are welcome as well. Game night is now on the third Friday of each month at 6 p.m. Game night is a time for more fellowship, and all are welcome to attend, and you can bring your own board game that you enjoy and share with others, or that we'll have board games here at Unity of the Seacoast as well. So that means that September 15th is the next third Friday for game night. Come and have some fun, and you'll also meet some interesting people, that's for sure. Also, I'd like to remind people that we are venturing into new territory with the Course of Miracles. And it's a very exciting course in which you get out of it what you put into it. It's something in terms of your own way of thinking, and it's being led by Cynthia, yes.
Cynthia, you have a couple words you'd like to say about it?
Yes.
So just another invitation to everyone here and everyone out there. This Course in Miracles has been in existence now for 40 or 50 years. It is a path through a very sometimes confusing and difficult world. It is a personal course. If you feel called to come to it, please do. We're going to be streaming it, I hear, which is great news. Great idea. But it will begin on September 14th at 10 o'clock. I will have coffee. That's an essential. And we would welcome anyone. If you feel called, then you are being called. It's that simple. And if you're just even curious, come and see what we have to say. I haven't scoped out just exactly how we'll proceed, but there will be a lesson every day that we'll work with and some readings from the book. But it's a life-changing experience, and I welcome anybody who wishes to come on in. It's going to be here, thank you, at the McConnell Center, 10 o'clock on September 14th, which, by the way, is one of the Unity Days of Peace. So we can have a few moments of contemplation and prayer for peace at that same time. It's going to be a great day. Hopefully you'll come. Thanks. There is no cost. It's a love offering, and there is no cost. Course in Miracles is the words of Jesus sent here to guide us, and they are free. And if you buy a book, there will be 9 books here. So you can borrow a book, and boy, we'd love to see.
Thank you, Cynthia. Another example of how in Unity there are many, many paths to understanding and enjoying the fruits of a relationship with a higher power we choose to call God. At this time, we're going to have some more music, is it?
Yeah, we'll do the Surely the
surely the
So
presence.
if everyone can stand up and join hands.
Well, stand up and join in.
And for some reason, we are not getting it. Yeah.
The presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on His face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Okay, next week, Tom begins, I have to go to the camera, right?
No, the one by Casey.
Oh, okay. Next week, Tom begins 2 weeks to look at the New Testament and Revelation. So that will be the subject of his talks. At this time, we'll do another unity tradition, which is to greet each other with Namaste, whose origin is in a Sanskrit Indian tradition. So if you please stand, make a circle, or give each other a namaste for sure.
Namaste. 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 Namaste.
Namaste to all.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.
A wonderful greeting, a wonderful spiritual greeting, and something that we all seek over time is that spiritual feeling of connecting with each other. And Namaste does that for sure. It says here Kevin plays, but he's not here. I would also say that let's keep Kevin and Barbara in our thoughts, positive thoughts. I think Barbara's just taking a week off, and being good to herself. And I think that's an important part of being God's children. And if Kevin is under the weather, we'll send prayers for Kevin as well. He has a wonderful talent in with his flutes to take us into the spiritual realm. I think it's ready to introduce our speaker today. And over the course of my being here, I made an attempt to figure out what was God's grace. And later we heard from Frank of what the real deal is. Okay? And today, under the direction of Tom's wife, she said he needs to know that he needs to talk about what is the truth. Tom?
Thank you. Thank you. Let me hug you. Thank you so much. No. So, thank everyone for being here. It's kind of Seems like we're making this up today. We kind of are.
It's all good.
And by the way, that song is pre-recorded in the piano. It just takes hands that know how to hit the right buttons. And mine aren't them today. So we spend a lot of time here talking about wisdom and religion and trying to ponder and answer questions. We search for meaning in our life, for purpose, and a connection to God. And we strive for what we think is true. But what we do here each week is not absolute truth. To be honest, it's speculation. It's individual truth. We hope that we see truth as something that has a common ground that we can all build off of and to help build and create a happy life. And we try to use truth and reason to make sense of it all. What we're doing technically is a discipline of philosophy. Philosophy is seeking truth and understanding. And really all the major advancements that our society has seen since we can begin to think have kind of come through a sort of philosophy. When people stared at the stars and wondered what was up there, what's it about, it was philosophical. When people wanted to study the way certain things acted and behaved and why things did what they did, it was science, but it was known at the time as natural philosophy. When we pondered our existence, it led to religion. When we pondered how we should act toward ourselves and toward others, that led to ethics. And all those were a form of philosophy. And as people formed societies, we pondered what led to cultural morals, a collective consciousness, a political persuasion, dictatorship, communism, royal hierarchy, and ultimately democracy. Hippocrates was a philosopher, but he wanted to learn the truth of how the human body worked. And now he's known as the father of modern science. That's where we get the Hippocratic Oath from. And as we began to find answers, we began to call those truths. And the great philosophers discovered that everything gets challenged. Absolute truth is not relative. It's backed by fact, reason, and wisdom. But they also learned that they had to have an open mind and open to be changing and open to change their mind. Remember, at one point, the sun, the moon, the stars moved around the earth. That was based in fact because that was based in our perspective of it all. We looked up and it made sense. Everything went around until Copernicus, through math and astronomy, discovered that the sun was the center of our universe. And that only answered part of it because more facts were added and that truth was expanded as we discovered the vastness of the universe. And challenging existing thoughts is not an easy thing to do. People don't like to give up their beliefs. Socrates was charged with corrupting the youth and was put to death. And unfortunately, he didn't write much down at all. So what we have, luckily had some great students, or what his students wrote of his teaching. The most prolific of that was Plato. And that brings us to a thing that's called Plato's Cave or Socrates' Cave. And the short of it is, it's a study in truth. 5 prisoners are chained facing a wall. They have never seen anything but the wall. And ahead of them, images go by. There's shadows on the wall. They see those as truth. They don't know that those images are the shadows of what's going on in the world behind them. Until one of the 5 gets released. He goes out into the world and he discovers everything in the world, all the possibilities. Everything is new, how things work. And at one point he remembers the other 4. And he realizes that he should go back and tell them. But there's part of him that says he can't go back. He can never look at that world through those eyes again because that's not true. And he has difficult explaining that because they only see their truth, no matter what he's telling them. Their truth are those shadows. But each time we find truth, we discover more and more and more truth and more things that work for us. And every person has what they consider to be true. It's called individual relativism. And it's based on the life you've led. Welcome. It's based on the life you've led, the things they've learned. It's based on culture, family history, religious history, where they were born, the people they were hung out with. And we develop these truths based on the morals that we adhere to. Now, we should understand that none of these are truths, but it's what we accept as truth. For example, many see the effects of climate change, and they see that as a truth, and others see it as the planet's natural cycle. We adhere to our truths despite the evidence to the contrary sometimes because we're vested in our truth. It's part of us. We see this in the news. We have a major conservative news outlet and we have a major liberal news outlet. Both claim to report the truth. But is it true when it's molded to fit one side or the other? And we'll face this when we face the elections. Each candidate's going to tell you their truth. You have to decide what truth you're going to vote for, what works for you, what doesn't. If you're conservative, you're most likely going to lean on the conservative side. If you're liberal, you're going to lean on the liberal side. See that, right and left? I worked that out all week. But hopefully, you won't make these decisions blindly. Hopefully, you're going to use your wisdom, your rationality, to not accept these words as truth just because someone says they are. We have a document that tells us right up front it's telling us about truths. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And just because the document says that, and that's one of the greatest documents ever, doesn't mean it is. I personally believe it is, so, I go along with it. But I also have to remember, on the whole, most people believe in the document in the context that it was written in. But that document was written by a man who kept humans in bondage. Was Thomas Jefferson writing about what he believed is true? What he believed inspired someone? Or was he just thought all men just meant white male? We have religions that speak of one true God. But of their vision of a true God, is it the same as another's? And so we settle into everyone has a right to their opinion. And for the most part, that's enough. But is it? Hitler's opinion led to the extermination attempt of another race. Those effects still ripple today. So the fact that someone believes in something doesn't make it true. No matter how passionate that person's argument is, no matter how eloquent, no matter what facts they think they have lined up that support it, you have to use your own reason and wisdom to decide that. Rock and roll was the devil's music. It was going to be the youth's downfall. Turned out Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, ZZ Top, just making music. But we look at moral truth, and perhaps sometimes, how people believe in their moral compass. It may be true for them. And it's a truth or a standardized way of behaving based on cultural or local ways of thinking, which is called moral relativism. But each person has what they accept as moral. And when a society decides on what moral truth is, it's called cultural relativism. I should have practiced that word more. I've stumbled over it all week. But this is something that we need to be aware of. Just because one person or a large group of people or a population believes something is true doesn't mean that we shouldn't question it. Remember, slavery was considered okay by the ruling class of our country at one point. Some cultures find that body mutilation of some sort should be performed on kids to represent when they become an adult. Some countries base their government on their religion and decide it's moral to keep women down and not give them the rights that we take for granted here in America. Even in the Bible, we have to question what we read as the truth. Paul in 1 Timothy wrote, "But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp the authority over men, but to be in silence." He also, in Acts, praised the women of the church in Acts 18 through 27. So we have to use our own wisdom, our own rationalization. But even those aren't truths, they're still judgments. You know, when someone tells me they have to speak their truth to me, I always cringe because I know I'm about to hear something I probably don't want to hear, and they're going to tell me anyway. And no one has ever started a sentence with, "I'm going to speak my truth," and then said something really nice. No one's ever said, "I'm going to speak my truth. What really nice socks you have on, Tom." But everyone has the right to an opinion. And I don't mean this in the legal sense. We have an epistemic right to our opinion for what is true for us. And that means to hold water, your opinion must be based on relative fact, sound reasoning. Just because you believe it does not necessarily mean it's so. So the other person, if it doesn't have that relative believability, someone else is not going to consider it as a truth. You know, if someone tells you the earth has flying monkeys that wear coats and defend the evildoers' rights, you know it's not true. But if we only saw The Wizard of Oz and did not know it was fiction, we could possibly agree with flying monkeys. And this has happened. October 30th, 1938, Orson Welles read Jules Verne's War of the Worlds. And people believed that we were being attacked from outer space and caused a national panic. And then what do we do when truth mixes with our spiritual beliefs? We have so many religions in the world, and each one believes that theirs is true. So how do we decide? Often we believed in how we were raised because we were told it was truth and we accepted it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because it gets you thinking about truth and God and connection. And perhaps you find all the answers you need in that religion and it works for you. But sometimes it doesn't. Because for the most part, religious doctrine is based on speculation. On the Christian side, we're taught about one God, a humanesque form overseeing it all. And we may have been taught to accept the Bible as literal and true. And for many of us, we did. And we took the creation story as literal. But as science progressed, we start to think otherwise. Creation was the truth, yet we have science. And those things seem pitted against each other. So what's the truth? Or maybe they're both on the same side. Creation and evolution are part of the same thing. The Bible's version of creation, maybe it's symbolic. And that's a big leap for many. And it makes sense for others, and it's not a big leap. But when we do this, we discover much of what we've read in religious books, such as the Bible, becomes symbolic to the natural world, to the scientific world. And we learn that so many things don't add up in it that we have to look for different answers. So we speculate and we decide what works for us, what becomes our truth. Scientific results get proven, so we can't dismiss science. But as we look at creation and evolution, maybe they're not the exact same thing, but they work hand in hand together. Creation is the inception of something. Evolution is that process that it moves towards perfection. And I always say, I don't want you to think like me. I want you guys to think like you. Because what I talk about each week, what I see as truth, are ideas or concepts that work for me. And hopefully some of what I say makes sense, or at least you understand that I'm coming to these conclusions with some sort of reasoning or rationale. But again, even when I talk about speculation, it's not based on what I was told as a child, because those things didn't work for me. They worked great for my grandmother, but it didn't make sense to me. And that's what we do here when we examine the Bible. In all aspects of life, we find what works for us and how we begin to understand all of life. What are my beliefs? What do I think is true? I believe in science. I believe in God. The image of God is love and wisdom. And when we act from love and wisdom, we are becoming the full expression of God. We are working from our Christ-like nature within us. God is the spiritual connection that all things have. God is that spiritual connection over scientific fact and principle. God is infinite, ever existing, and all the principles that created the universe are ever existing. If we were to wipe out the universe today, those principles would still be there, and that spirit that binds them would still be there to allow this whole process to start over and over again. And we are part of that process. And that process is taking something and nurturing it forward. To nurture something forward is to love it. And if we're part of that, then God is love, and God loves me. And we are a thinking human expression of all that love. I believe that Jesus understood this. I don't think he's the only one, but I think he understood it on such a high level that that's why we call him the master teacher. I don't believe all the words in the Bible are true, but there are truths in the word, like a parable word. Parable is a story that might not be true, but there is truth in what it means. And I think that's how we look at the Bible. There are stories, and we look for the truth in their meaning. It's not our job, or it becomes our job to look at that through that way, or not our job, depending. Nobody's required to do any of this or study any of it. I also don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah in the way it was predicted to come and save us. I think he's a Messiah in the sense that he saves us, but he teaches us to save ourselves. He teaches us to be our own Messiah, to be active in our own growth and our own evolution. I believe he's as human as the rest of us, and we're all connected. And I think that's why he used the term, our Father. I think that is one of the most key statements in the Bible, to know that we're connected, is that he starts his prayer with our Father. Not my father, not my Jewish father, not my black father, not my gay father, not my straight father, not any of that. Our Father. We are all connected. We are all one. And I believe to accomplish everything that we do, we use all these principles that are laid out before us. I believe in thoughts held in mind bring about in kind, and that we attract the life that we want to live. When we use the lessons that we've learned in life, the lessons we've learned from our interpretation of the Bible, that we can overcome most things in life. We can heal our minds to be whole. And we do this by repenting. And there's that word, repenting. Repenting simply means when we find one way that doesn't work, we seek a way that does. It's not hellfire, it's not damnation, it's not what it's evolved to be. It was a very simple word with a simple concept. Find the way that works for you if it's not working. You know, each person has their kingdom. Repent, for the kingdom is at hand. In other words, find your kingdom, what works for you, what is your bliss. Your bliss, your kingdom is individual, as individual to you as it is to mine. Because again, we're each personalized expressions of God. And our expression, the way we express it, what we do for a living, our hobbies, what we think about, what we treat, how we treat each other, how we interact in the world, the things that bring us enjoyment, the things that inspire us. And we're all equal no matter what we do in life. Rich, poor, blue collar, white collar, anything. We are all equal. You know, if your kingdom is working on the car on Sundays, do it. Enjoy what you do. If it's knitting and creating a blanket, if it's anything, do it. You know, enlightenment, creativity, Zen, higher power, higher vibration, that's not meant for a chosen few. That's meant for everybody. Jesus didn't select the people he talked to. Everybody showed up to hear him. And that's what this is about. It's about picking our life, what makes us the best us. That's enlightenment. When you start realizing your bliss, And you know you're in the zone. Sometimes you're in the zone just by finding a new way home. Or you're making something to eat and you go, I wish I'd tried that recipe. Oh, let me try it. Yeah, that's great. That's enlightenment. It's just firing on all cylinders at any given moment. It's working with your God connection. You know, we're all trying to live the best life we can. And let's face it, sometimes life gets out of control. Life can be hard. Things happen and it changes our trajectory from birth. Just we're perfect beings that should just go through life thinking that we're perfect. But the Bible understands that that's different. So it gives us key steps to change our trajectory back to where we want it to go. And it starts, you know, for me it starts in the Bible, but it starts in the people I hang out with, like you guys. It starts with everything I do, from the moment I wake up to seeing Casey, to talking to my kids. It starts here. Now it leads me to what I think life is. And that's to use the freedom of choice to co-create the best life for me to the benefit of others and our world. A life grounded in wholeness, love, empathy, compassion, and wisdom. To become interactive in my own evolution and to be able to live in as many moments as possible. And the best part of that scenario is it works for everybody, and how you do it is up to you. Nobody has to follow another person's way or truth. So what is truth? Well, there's absolute truth. The things that are so rock solid, they can't be disproved based on relative fact and reasoning. And I think we get closer to using truth, or to truth, by using science. I believe in scientific facts, and I believe them as truth. But the spirit that binds them and keeps them all together, doing the same things over and over again, is God. That's what I call God. But I can't prove that to any of you. I can't prove it to someone who doesn't want to hear my words. And sometimes I don't want to hear someone else's words. But I get this, and therefore God is love. And to me, that's the truth. But explain God is love to someone who's immersed in the woes of life, and they may not be able to see that as true. What you believe in is up to you. There's a saying, if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, you're right. Thank you. So what truth works for you? You're not going to agree with all I say, and maybe none of what I say. Maybe my words don't ring true, but the lesson rings true. When it comes to this stuff, again, we're not talking about absolute truth. I mean, I would like it to be. That'd make my life easier. I'd tell you what it is, and okay. But that's not how it is. And until we move into the next carnation, we may not know what real truth is. And even then, who knows? We may not know. You know, don't let others suspend your ability to reason just to believe their truth. Use your process. You have the process to decide what's truth for you. I mean, I had a Baptist minister once explain to me why I was going to hell for not believing like he does. And he even used that slippery slope argument. What happens if everyone believed like me? Well, I believe in love thy neighbor and caring for each other, so I'm willing to take that risk. But I also thought it was okay to let him talk, because what he believes and sees, he sees it as a truth. And I'm sure he has sound reasoning. And he has the right to choose what works for him. And maybe there was one thing that he would have said that would have gone, I can get that point. Turned out it wasn't. But again, what about you? If we can't break it down to absolute truth, well, where does that leave us? Well, it comes down to relative truth. And what makes us connect to this truth? Well, it comes down to faith. This is the basis of all religion and so much more in life. We have enough history in our own life to have faith in things, have faith in your beliefs, as well as in your life. And we have faith in family and friends. And we meet people, and from an instant, we have faith that seems like a worthy person to know. I have faith in you guys to be able to stand up here and talk. Because I have insecurities each week when I get up here. But I speak, and each time it's my faith in you that allows me to do that. Because we have a partnership, a sort of a dance. I write and study, and I try to understand what I need to talk about, hoping it's something that is worthy of a talk. I hope to inspire, but at the same time, to be inspired, and I get that from you guys each week. And I can tell you over and over about God, but it's my faith in this whole interaction, and it's my faith in God as I see God that gives me the strength to talk to you guys with conviction. And it's in this faith that we get as close to truth on God as we're going to get. It's your faith that determines the extent of your belief. Again, we're personalized expressions of God. And this stuff should be personal to you. And you'll make personal choices on what's true. And they may change over time. But the faith is that you're on the right path. And life unfolds for you the way that it's meant to. I never debate someone when talking about religion. I don't feel like I need to change their mind. Nor should I. And how am I going to win a debate with someone who sees their view as truth grounded in faith? And why would I want to change that? And I think in the end, we all land on that one place that's sort of similar for everybody. And that is God is love. And you are a child of God. And everything else is relative. I thank you. Since we have no music, I'm just going to go right into a meditation. Thank you. And George, I think my meditation is sitting right next to you. Thanks so much. I do want you guys to know that what I talk about in here, that being a dance and being, it takes both of us for me to do what I do and for you guys there. And I appreciate that. I never take that for granted. I'm humbled by each one of you who wants to listen to anything I wrote or say or thought. It's just so amazing to me. So I'm going to ask each of you to get comfortable and find that comfortable breath. And I do that comfortable breath because I remember when people used to tell me to breathe in and out, it never felt like I was on pace. So you have your own individual breathing pattern. And as we begin to quiet down, we enter this meditative state knowing that there is one power and presence in the universe. God the good, great omnipresent. And we enter this meditation seeking what is true. I am open to receive truth. I am grateful for the power to discern what is true. My truth is in the connection of soul and mind to God mind. I am a child of God. I am loving. I am caring. I am open to other thoughts. I am open to new ideas. In each moment, I decide what truth works for me. I'm an open, creative expression of God. I seek my truth in God and let God's truth flow through me. I live my best Christ-like life. I accept wholeness as me. I accept love as me. I accept strength as me. I accept letting go of that which does not serve me. I accept letting go of that which does not serve my highest nature. I dismiss limiting thoughts. And understand that I am unlimited potential. I am open to my innate unlimited potential as a divine being. I use this potential to live my best life. I use my potential to care for others. Because in each person, I see the divine in them. I'm going to invite you back as we go into the prayer for others. Each week we do a prayer for others. We have the box up here. If you write a name in and drop it in the box, we'll pray for it for 30 days. And we also call it into Truth Unity, or not Truth Unity, Silent Unity. And I also bring it up on the prayer service I do Wednesday at noon. For those at home, if you're thinking of someone, reach out to me and I can put their name on the list. Charlie creates a list every week as well, and reach out to Charlie or myself. And always, if you're thinking of someone, the fastest way to make a prayer land is just pick up the phone. Say, hey, Jim, I'm thinking about you today. If you have a relationship that you can do that, do that. If you have a relationship where you can say, I love you, my friend, do that as well. The best prayer is the one that you say face to face, because that you know they got it and they know they got it. But if you just pray for them, that's enough too. I bank my healing process on you guys' prayers. Unity people know how to pray. And in that vein, we're going to pray for others. We affirm their wholeness. We affirm their health. We affirm their strength. We affirm their courage. For those who are in need, hunger, financial, anything, we affirm abundance. For those who have, we affirm their openness and willing and wisdom to share. For our leaders, we affirm that they have the power to make the right decision for everyone, not just what we believe they should be the right decision, the decision that helps the world the best way it can. We have an amazing planet with an amazing bunch of people, and we are all connected. So at times we may seem isolated. We have the ability to be that dot, that ripple that spreads out and makes change. Ernie said that earlier, and that was right on. So we affirm the best from our Christ-like nature, our God, our individual expression of God to our God connection, to God mind. And so it is. Amen. And now we're going to do the collection. Normally we'd have music playing, but we've already... Ernie will sing. You guys could hear the song in my head. It's perfect for this. I'm just waiting for it. So you guys can join me in the prayer of tithes and offering. Awesome. Divine One, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and so it is. Amen. And since we have no music, we will skip the peace song, and we're just going to end this on the prayer of protection. And I thank everyone, truly. So if you'd like to repeat this with me. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The presence of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and we are richly blessed. And I've told you before, but you know this poem went to the moon, right? Buzz Aldrin brought it to the moon on the first. Yeah. So unity is the official religion of the moon. So have a great week.